Top story. Take a look, folks, at this video recorded late today by Cameron Duncan. A large tornado touching down just after 5 tonight in the Ohio River town of Mount Vernon, Indiana. It's just 30 minutes west of Evansville. Evansville TV stations report tonight damage to warehouses in Mount Vernon, homes, and even a train derailment, but no injuries are known so far. This tornado came out of the sky from what's left of Hurricane Beryl, as about the same time many areas near Louisville were under tornado warnings. Near Louisville in Hardin County, look at these ominous looking shelf clouds triggered even more tornado warnings, as they have the potential to drop tornadoes out of the sky at any minute. This one here is from Kyra DeBruin, north of Radcliffe, just before 6 p.m. Then 7 minutes later, take a look. Donnie Sweeney took this photograph looking northwest of Elizabethtown. And then, of course, about 8:15 tonight, a much different look. This rainbow delighting many people spotted across Kentuckiana. I took this photo of it from the back lot of WHAS TV as it stretched across the eastern part of Louisville, landing the pot of gold in some lucky neighborhood tonight. Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us here tonight on the WHAS 11 night team. I'm Doug Proffitt. Right now, as you can see on our Max HD radar, we do have some heavy downpours coming in across Kentuckiana. Some street flooding is being reported. We're checking that out right now for you. Meteorologist Colleen Peterson is here at the moment. And Colleen, we dodged the tornadoes, but do we have to worry about any severe weather threat overnight?
No, Doug. Thankfully, the tornado watch is expired. We are no longer under a threat of tornadoes here in Kentucky and Indiana. We are only left with the last bit of rain that's pushing through. We lost a lot of that energy in our atmosphere, so not seeing a threat of tornadoes. The severe weather threat is over, and I think the best case scenario happened where we had numerous tornado warnings, but nothing came of it. We did get a lot of reports of funnel clouds, wall clouds, which are typically the beginning stages of tornadoes. But zooming on into Jefferson County, the last bit of the rain is pushing through, especially over Anchorage right now in Fern Creek, seeing some lightning bolts also situated with it. We've seen some rain today, so there could be some reports of some flooding in some streets, but nothing crazy. No flash flood warnings are in place. Seeing some downpours from Bedford down to LaGrange with some heavy rain and lightning associated with it, but Scottsburg, Seymour, areas west, you are done with rain. Once this line pushes through, we are going to start to clear out. So post-tropical Beryl is the reason why we are seeing all of this rain, that last big rain band, and then that low pressure is going to move on to the north overnight. So we're kind of done with that rain, besides a few lingering light showers throughout the day tomorrow. So the track pushes it on to Canada after leaving the Midwest, and we are going to be left with some nice weather by tomorrow afternoon. I'll have your forecast for the rest of the week. I also have some more photos to share and talking about the storm reports we saw today in our area coming up. Doug?
Colleen, thank you. Today's storms were setting off tornado warnings all around us, while people in West Louisville were still picking up from last week's 4th of July tornado there. WHAS 11 night team's Alex Dieter and photojournalist Elijah McKenzie were out on Woodland Avenue seeing what progress has been made and what still needs to be done.
Pulling trees out of backyards less than a week after an EF1 tornado touched down in the Parkland neighborhood.
It's probably one of the scariest things I've ever witnessed in my life.
While more tornado warnings cover Kentuckiana.
All this is down already. We're not even done cleaning it up from last week. That's the last thing we need is another tornado.
The Petty family is still cleaning up on Olive Street. While progress is being made,
LG&E came through and they started working immediately. They worked around the clock for days.
Other restorations for the family are still being worked on.
We still don't have Wi-Fi or cable. And when you got kids, that's hard.
Walking through the Petty's backyard, it's hard to see the walkway. What was once shaded from all the tree canopy is now covered in leaves and branches. With the potential threat of more severe weather, the Pettys are worried that what happened last week might happen again.
What makes me more scared is that the trees that didn't fall is the bigger trees.
Yeah.
That if they do fall, they're going to end up falling on the house.
Cleanup continues on Woodland Avenue following last week's 4th of July storms. You can see right behind me that a tree that was uprooted is being taken away days later.
It's heavy work.
Owner of Tree Doctor Matt Schulten has been removing down trees from storms for 40 years.
Yeah, we've seen some storms.
This 100-plus-year-old oak tree was completely uprooted by last week's storms.
If you cut a tree back, take the weight off of it. You know, if it doesn't get top heavy, it's not going to uproot as easy. But a lot of times there's not much you can do.
While trees are chopped up and removed and the Pettys continue to pick up the pieces of their home.
I put that trampoline up myself and I spiked it to the ground, so it made it through a tornado.
They're grateful for what's still standing. In the Parkland neighborhood with photojournalist Elijah McKenzie, Alex Dieterer, the WHAS 11 night team on your side.
And the lines were long today in the Parkland neighborhood as residents received more help from the team at Dare to Care. This afternoon, the organization hosted a pop-up food pantry right here for families who need it. The CEO, Vincent James, says the demand for their services has gone up recently.
We're seeing this with inflation, the pandemic benefits decreasing. Now we have that greater need, and that's why it's more now than it was during 2020 and 2021.
Dare to Care also helped immediately after the storm, handing out food to people who lost power. All new right now on the WHAS 11 night team, Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg joined several other mayors tonight for a virtual call with President Joe Biden. A spokesperson for the mayor says the focus of this call was to talk about the president's campaign. The mayors of New York City and Chicago both said that they'd also be on that call. The president has been meeting with elected officials over the last few days as he works to gain more support for his re-election campaign following the debate with Donald Trump. New tonight on the WHAS 11 night team, say so long to diesel fuel and hello to electric TARC buses. Well, they call the new fleet of TARC buses zero-emission buses. Now the Transit Authority of River City is using a $3 million federal grant to help pay for them. WHAS 11 night team's Taylor Woods and photojournalist Addie Hill talked to concerned riders and TARC about the grant.
It's hard, it's stressful, it's always a challenge.
Candace Carlisle lives in Clarksville and rides TARC buses 71 and 72. Like many other riders, she's still trying to get used to the new service reductions that started last month.
I've cried sometimes because I can't get to where I need to and then I have to walk like 40 blocks.
Despite the service cuts, TARC has 6 operational electric buses. The transit system will receive just over $3 million from the Federal Transit Administration in the next few years to buy a new fleet of electric buses.
I guess some of the buses need replaced, but I feel like they could use that to fix the scheduling issue.
3 new zero-emission buses are expected to be bought with the federal grant money. They'll be on the road by 2026. It's money that can't be used to pay for daily operations.
Federal money for transit comes specifically for replacing buses, but it can't be used for putting service on the street.
Alex Pazorski, Marketing and Communications Director at TARC, explained if new buses aren't bought, it leads to bigger problems with its fleet. The buses also help produce cleaner air.
We're able to do our part to make sure Louisville residents can breathe a little bit easier.
Leela Ellington is a frequent TARC rider. She's for anything that makes the buses run faster. So if that means new electric buses, it's a win for her.
I love it because I want to get on the bus quickly. I don't like to wait for no hour.
On the other hand, Carlisle is more concerned about the service reductions.
Like honestly, I don't think that we need 3 new buses. I think that we need our scheduling fixed.
And the electric buses that TARC currently has are charged with chargers in the field. In studio, Taylor Woods, WHAS 11 night team on your side.
Taylor, thank you very much. More local news here on the night team. A Vine Grove, Kentucky woman accused of killing another woman in Louisville remains in custody on a bond of $250,000. 32-year-old Stephanie Hill appeared in arraignment court this morning on murder and other charges. Police say she shot and killed a woman on Glimmer Way, that's near Fairdale, early Monday morning. In arrest documents, detectives say Hill admitted to being the only person with the victim at the time of the shooting and was in possession of the victim's cell phone. We have a new update for you right here tonight. The reform agreements for Louisville Metro Police, best known as the federal consent decree negotiations, are expected to be finished by now the end of the year. Now, that's new information. Senior reporter Isaiah Kim Martinez also asked Mayor Craig Greenberg today if the recent sexual harassment claims within LMPD have weakened the city's leverage with the feds.
In consent decree negotiations, I understand you have a better timeline on potential completion?
Yeah, I expect the consent decree to be fully negotiated by the end of this year.
Despite being just 2 weeks removed from his own police chief stepping down, at his request, Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg tells me they've made progress with the Justice Department.
We do want to get this done so that we can have the roadmap for the future as well.
That's amid a string of sexual harassment claims within LMPD coming to light. Issues, he says, have not tied the city's hands in negotiating their consent decree, the document that'll require police make a series of reforms. You have to believe that with sexual harassment allegations, investigations, lawsuits, that potentially weakens the city's hand when it comes to negotiations, right?
I don't think so. This isn't a question about strengthening or weakening hands. This is a situation about getting the document right.
I asked Interim Police Chief Paul Humphrey a similar question a week ago. Do you worry that some of the things that have come to light in recent weeks, some of the controversy, will make it harder to negotiate with the DOJ as far as getting the version you want in that document?
No. I mean, if, negotiations are going to go forward the way they're going to go forward. What is the right way and the best way to do things is the right way and the best way to do things regardless of what's happened in the last few weeks.
Consent decrees aren't cheap. Every year that goes by could mean millions in local taxpayer dollars spent. The city has already allotted nearly $400,000 in its approved budget for consent decree monitoring.
We don't want to be under a consent decree for a decade, as some other cities have. That could be millions and millions of dollars if this goes on for a decade or more. We don't have those resources.
There's also the question of what could change if former President Donald Trump were elected in November. U of L constitutional law professor Sam Markison says the shift could be major.
There's every reason to believe that even if a consent decree is in place before the Biden administration would leave under this scenario, that its enforcement would be much less than rigorous during a Trump 2 administration.
Something that'll make the presidential election results that much more consequential. Isaiah Kim Martinez, WHAS 11 Night Team on your side.
More local news here on the WHAS 11 Night Team tonight. It's a new position for a very familiar face in Louisville. Devon Holt is now the new president and CEO of the Muhammad Ali Center after recently leaving Goodwill. Now, this is the first time that a Louisville native is leading the Ali Center. Holt was with Goodwill for 5 years, and he helped shape the new Opportunity Campus in West Louisville, which is going to become a national model. Holt called Muhammad Ali his personal hero and said that this was his dream job. By the way, on Thursday, July 18th, the Metro Council will rename a street near Goodwill in honor of Devon.